Get ready. Hold tight. It's
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
Just what the flipping Nora are you all lot doing?
I'm still in there. I'm still right behind him.
It was just a very well thought out tactical plan by Danny.
I want go!
I can literally feel the steam coming out your ears.
So it's like a fun little post-game snack.
The Wednesday Week! Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. Hello from the other side edition. Joining me tonight, I've got Paul from the Leeds Therapy as we talk about our upcoming local derby in... Yes, Paul, how are you? You all right?
Good, thanks, mate. How about yourself?
Well, it's late on a Thursday. I've just watched a movie about Brexit and I've just had a Chinese. Nothing else happening in the world of Sheffield Wednesday, or some would hope to disagree with after the fans forum last night. But I feel like I've got to digest it a bit before I start spouting off online or via a medium such as this. Have you caught wind of it at your end of the year?
Do you know what? I caught a little bit of it and I thought to myself, that's not good. If what I've just read is right, that's not good. It's very much. We haven't looked at doing any transfers. What does that mean?
Yeah. The interesting thing about these fans forums is that the fans go thinking that it's like a feedback session, thinking like, we're going to go bring up some concerns, and the chairman's going to go, hey, you know what? That's a solid point. Not thought about that. Thanks, Trev. And then go off and do something about it. When really it's just him going, no, I did do that, and you've got that wrong. And shut up, and I'm the boss. So if you don't like it, Foxtrot Oscar, and that's pretty much how these things go. And then like they started charging tickets for him now, so it's like 10 quid for a pie and peas supper to get sworn out by the chairman while he pops off for 17 fag breaks in a 5-hour period. Like,
not good. It's not good.
Honestly. But listen, we're not here to talk about our insane chairman who's got the the innate lovability of a belligerent child. We're up to talk about the Yorkshire Derby coming up with high-flying Leeds United. What I wanted to do is talk about, pre-season expectations, how you think the season's going, stuff like that. So let's get into it. So before the season started, you must have been fancying yourselves, right?
I was up until the point when we sold Gray and then Rutter disappeared out the window. Then we all kind of thought, Jesus, what are we going to do here? Then pre-season, after the pre-season kind of went okay, and we all thought that that Matteo Joseph was going to be the one that was going to be the shining light. Turns out it's actually Peru that's the shining light so far. We all know we need to get promoted. We all know that that's the aim for this season. And in all honesty, I didn't care, and I don't care now if it's champion or second place. I'm not really that bothered. Just as long as we go up the championship, it'd be nice. Don't get me wrong, but as long as we go up, because we've got the 17,000 expansion that needs to start on, and stadium improvements that need to happen as well. And if we don't go up, that puts some serious doubt and threat to that. But overall, I'm happy with where we are at the moment. Don't ask me any questions about Melier. But we should be we probably should be maybe somewhere between 4 and 8 points clear, but we're still top of the table. We're doing absolutely fine. Tanaka has been an absolute revelation. Peru's been an absolute revelation. Rothwell's been fantastic. Our defense is really, really good, which is the reason that Melier doesn't face many shots. So I'm mildly pleased, but we should be further ahead than where we are now.
Do you know what? That's interesting. I met a Leeds United fan last night in that London, and he was saying exactly the same thing. He kind of squared it at Farker's door, saying that you should be like 10 points clear, apparently, where you are now. But apparently Farker and the goalkeeper between them are costing you run away with it.
I would respectfully disagree with the Farker element of it. I'm not a Farker out guy. Farker's there to do a job. Currently, at the moment, he has an overall win percentage of 60% so far overall on his games.
So, hang on. I'm sorry to interject there, Paul. Is there genuinely an element of your fan base who are like, this guy needs to get out? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
But you're top of the league.
You don't need to ask me that, but tell me that. But yeah, there is. I mean, Just Joe. I've been on a lot of Just Joe podcasts. There's other podcasts that I've been on as well, and you'll see it. Farker out. Look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's fine. That's why we do these forums. That's why we get on with it. That's why we do what we do. Chat and talk and say nonsense. It doesn't necessarily mean that we all have to agree with each other. But, my thing has always been, if not Farker, then who?
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't anybody else in the championship.
As nobody mentioned Danny Roll. Well, he seems to get mentioned with every job going.
There has some. Do you know what? I've seen some whispers of Danny Roll. But for me, Farker's fine. He's absolutely fine in terms of what he's doing. Should we be further ahead? Yes. Is his football a little bit risk averse? Yes, to some degree. But I don't care how we go up this season. It's as simple as that. And we have a ridiculous record at the moment when it comes to us scoring first. We're on a run of, I think it's 66 games where we score first, we don't lose.
That's incredible. And there's people saying, "Oh, the football's rubbish. We can't have football like this at Leeds United."
Well, the issue that you have is, and it's something that we've struggled with all season, is we do struggle with the low block. We always have done. It's in terms of the way that Farker likes to play. Farker is very possession based in terms of the style that he likes to play, and what he tries to do is move teams left to right to make spaces, and then people with the individual skills, so like a Solomon or like Dan James, for example, or even an Aronson, can then make the moves to get people through, and then you've got people like Tanaka and Rothwell who can play them straight balls forward and do what we need to do, even bringing the defence forward at the same time as well. But the issue has been that we sometimes tend to play probably at a little bit of a slow pace, and I get it. I understand people's frustrations, but I'm always of the same opinion. You've always got to respect the team that you play in. Doesn't matter if you like them, you hate them, or whatever, or they are considered to be lower opposition than what you are. It's not a case of we're going to walk into every team and just turn them over 7-0. It doesn't work that way in the Championship at all. It just doesn't. And you have to earn it. Sometimes we've earned it, sometimes we haven't. The disappointing thing is the last two games, obviously there's the Blackburn kerfuffle, and then there's the Hull kerfuffle, which was Melié's fault. Hull was Melié's fault, 100%. Try to catch a ball that was going over the bar. You can't legislate for that, and you can't defend that. He's made an absolute balls up. You don't go 3-1 up away from home and then end up drawing the game 3-3. No. You just don't. So, and everybody's got a right to be annoyed at that. They have, hands down. But just some of the takes on Farker are hilarious, in my humble opinion. People can take me as being completely wrong. That's fine. I'll stand on that. Farker is doing an okay job. If we were 6 to 10 points clear at the top of the table, yeah, he's doing a perfect job. There's some things he'll never dig out a player at the an individual player. Although he did do it to Meslier in a press conference recently, where he did actually mention stuff that he'd done wrong. But then we all know that he's going to play the next game, when really we all think that Darlow should be playing. Because just for his own sanity, he needs taking out. Mellier's regressed because he hasn't had competition for the last 4 years. And that's been his biggest problem.
Because it's interesting, because Mellier's a good keeper. He's just having an absolute stinker right now. But there is an element of, I think that the best goalkeepers, and I know it's a really weird trait to put in high regard. I think some of the best goalkeepers are the ones that keep the concentration for when they're called into action. You know what I mean? Like, a great example was Petr Cech, of that, title European Cup winning team at Chelsea. He only probably got called into action once or twice a game, but when he did, that managed to keep your concentration, and that involved in the game is a really important piece for a successful team. I think it's mega important. Now, just to come back on a couple of things you were saying, and I'll probably dip in and out of it. I wanted to talk about the game back in August, and you were talking about Farker making space open, and I think your second goal, it was it James that scored it?
It was.
Your second goal, you absolutely pulled everybody to the left-hand side, and there was a break from your fullback. 1, 2, 3 passes, and all of a sudden it was in the back of the net. It was so patient. As much as it pains me to say, don't get me wrong, it's one of them where you go, Christ, that was a good goal. That was a very clever work goal.
Yeah, when it works in the system right, and we do it to the right pace. And again, I don't mean this as a disrespectful way of saying it. We are unplayable. The goal we score against Derby is another example that Brendan Aronson scores, where there is a sequence of 24 passes where we just move Derby all over the place. And I think one of the Derby guys that does a lot of reviews said you could see what was coming, but they couldn't do anything to stop it. And then we were moving them, and then it's just that quick switch, 1-2 pass, done, straight, and it's in, and it's on the goal, and it's done. When we do that, it's brilliant to watch, and we are really, really good at doing that. I think sometimes we just wish that we would do it a little bit more.
Kids, if you've got that in the arsenal, why are you not doing it all the time? I used to play 5-a-side with a kid who could smash it in from his own goal line, like literally top mins every time. And he used to go, if you can do that, why don't you do that all the time? He went, it's not football, is it? Bro, are you winding me up? And this is 5-a-side at what used to be called pits in Sheffield. Christ, we're drawing games 8-8. Just hit one in, God's sake. So I want to talk about Meslier as well. I want to talk about the goalkeeper because, like I say, he's having a torrid time of it, but he's still retaining his shirt. And we've got a striker in Ike Ugbo that's absolutely barren right now. You know what I mean? I think he's around 30 games now where he's not hit the back of the net or essentially been in a goal involvement either. He's absolutely dropping his backside. And this is a guy that was one of the main instruments in keeping us up last year. I think the style of football's changed a little bit, and the players around him have changed, and we're not really playing to his strengths a little bit. But there's an element of where I am firmly in the camp of what we're doing. Why we've paid money for him. We paid £3 million, which is a decent amount of money at this level, and we're constantly giving him a run out. Is it a justification of his price tag, or are we trying to get his confidence back by not ruining it even more by dropping him? And there's a point you get to where you're like, guys, into charity. Come on now, let's absolutely just chuck somebody else in that position. I know that's a long way of asking, but are you there with Meslier yet?
Yeah. Darlow, for me, Darlow needs to start.
Yeah.
And again, that's my opinion. I know a lot of people agree with that now, but for me, Darlow does need to start. I think the pressure needs taken off of Meslier. Yes, he's young, but Darlow for me should start. He played in the cup game against Harrogate, but for me, it's Harrogate. You can't tell a lot from that. Yes, he commanded his area all right. Yes, he came for balls. There's a couple of little mistakes that he made, nothing too detrimental because it was Harrogate, but he should start for me. But he won't because he's Farke's number. Farke is very much in the Meslier camp. If he does start on Sunday, I will be gobsmacked. I'll be absolutely gobsmacked if he does start on Sunday.
Especially given the reaction of your defenders when Meslier fluffed his lines. Was it the equaliser? It was a wonderful piece of video.
Yeah, it's. I can't remember which one it was, but one of them. I think it was Rodon. It was what the F are you doing?
Yeah,
Rothwell was turned, and you could see him say not again. And it was just like, oh God, no, because it's. From a player point of view, you can absolutely understand their frustration with it. But then again, there's the human element of it. And I don't think he genuinely goes out of his way to make a cock up and a mistake and everything. It's just what happened. But he needs taking out. For me, he needs taking out of the firing line, but it won't happen.
There's I also want to come back to the game at Hillsborough. And if I think I've got your starting 11 lined up ready to go. So Meslier was in the sticks, and you had Firpo, Struik, Rodon, Bogle, Gruev, Ampadu, Willie Nonto, Aronson, James, Matteo, Joseph. Now Matteo Joseph got 2 assists that day.
Yep.
And so you were saying earlier on that he was the second coming of the Messiah at some point. It was like the second game of the season, right?
Yeah, he was at the start of the season. He was banging him in like nobody's business. I think he scored 4 or 5 in pre-season, and everybody thought he was absolutely looking the business, and it was going to be Pirro that was coming off of the bench and scoring the goals. And it hasn't turned out that way. And I think what's happened to Joseph is that, and everybody's saying, well, he's like bagging hat tricks. He's 5 in 5 for the Spain under-21 team so far this season, and bagging hat tricks in this, that, and the other in the international side. But under-21s football is completely different from championship football. Absolutely, completely different. But the issue that you've got with him is that I think now it's too much in his head. So he's been trying way too hard. His hold-up play is okay. His physicality's been okay, but it's just that little decision-making just at the final portion of what he does that's just hindering him slightly. But also as well, he is very much a near-post runner, depending on what side the ball's coming from. And we kind of haven't played that way for quite some time now in terms of the way that we play and we operate, where we don't generally put balls into the near post. What you'll have is the full-backs will be bombing on and the wingers will be cutting in and inverting, or the other way around, and the balls will get pulled back. That's generally what tends to happen, which is what I think Peru's on 16 goals and assists so far this season. Mateo Joseph has got his assists as well, and he's got his goals, but Pirro is just, he's more, what's the best way to explain it? His conversion rate is like 25%. So he's got a 1 in 4 conversion rate in the box, which is good. Joseph's is like 5, I think, 5 or 6%. He's missed, when you look at the statistics so far this season, he's missed, I think it's 6 big chances so far this season. So that would square him into if he made some of them, he'd be looking a lot better. But I think a little bit of confidence. Oh, mind you, saying that, he's always got swagger when he comes on. And he does look to annoy people. He's got that Spanish flair to him. I like, there is a really, really talented footballer in there. He just needs to
grow up a bit, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. And I know what you mean. Wouldn't be the worst thing for him, but he's not got the finishing ice coldness of a Pirro. He hasn't, unfortunately.
Because there's an easy correlation to make in terms of Farke's championship winning Norwich team when he kept bouncing up and down the leagues with them in terms of Timu Pukki. And so there was a point at the start of the season when Mateo Joseph, you earmarked him and went, he's the Pukki. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I feel like that's changed a little bit. But looking at the team there, it's that weird bit, August, isn't it? Where all of a sudden, you play one team and then by September it's a completely unrecognizable. Who's still there? Have you lost anybody?
No,
apart from Gray.
Firpo was injured, but he's back now. If he starts past, not sure. Gruev obviously has had a long-term injury. He's now just come back as well. Ampadu, same. I mean, them two, I think they're just made of metal and steel because the knee injuries that they had, they shouldn't have come back from as quick as what they have. Gruev, we thought would be out for the entire season. Nonto is still here, obviously, but he's kind of flattered to deceive a little bit. He came out the traps like a prime greyhound at the start of the season, and that's fallen off a little bit. Hence why Dan James is starting above him. Ramazani as well, who we've got in now, was again doing really, really well until his injury, and then Solomon came in, and Solomon is just a different level. He's just a different level to every team that he plays against. You can just see it in terms of the way that his brain works and what he's trying to do, and his ability to beat people, and just his overall. And sometimes he's a level above where our players are at as well. So we miss what he's actually trying to do. So if you were to say to me to pin my mask to a team that starts on Sunday, it'll be Melier in goal. The defensive line will probably be that. Might be Byram in place of Firpo, or even Schmidt in place of Firpo, but we'll have to wait and see. It'll be Ampadu and Tanaka that are playing in the centre of midfield, more than likely. And then on the left-hand side, it'll be Solomon, Aronson in the middle, and James on the right, and it'll be Pirro up front.
Now, that's Ampadu I'm a big fan of. I think he's great. I genuinely, he was head and shoulders that day at Hillsborough. But let's talk about head to heads. Let's talk, because up until I think last year before, we went through a period of not playing you for about 3 years because flirts with Premier League and us in League One and all the rest of it. Now you will see a lot of memes about 6-0, but I've just realised that's how long ago is that now? 2014, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
11 years ago.
We still sing about beating Man U in the cup 1-0 from when
Oh, we still
day.
sing about beating Sheffield United in 1979. We're all as bad as each other. So you're going to see a lot of them on the day. But obviously, there's some great ding dongs between Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday, and I kind of like it because for a number of years. You've been the bigger team, flirted with the Premier League, come back down, and the like. There was the 0-0. I know it's a weird one to pick out, but the most recent 0-0 back in September 23.
Yeah,
when that was Chisco Munoz's. It was Chisco, wasn't it then? Yeah, that was Chisco Munoz's biggest thing but that was his only success he had with this club, was to draw 0-0 away at your gaff. And how did we pull that off?
I'm just looking at the two lineups now in terms of who was starting. You had Vasquez in goal.
Yep.
Delgado left back.
Yep.
Bainwu, I think Bainwu and Diaby. Bernard and Patterson was your defensive line. Gregory, Bannon, Byers, Windass on the right-hand side, and Smith up front.
I think there's only about 4 players you've just mentioned there that are still in the squad.
I'm just looking at this here. We had 87% pass accuracy, 67% possession. Mind you, we're saying that 15 shots to 11. So you still managed to have 11 shots.
But that's what I like about football, right? That's that, if it was that easy, I'd be a millionaire every week, right? You know what I mean? If you could just pick it on the stats, and that's why football's great. Is there part of you that's looking at this fixture coming up thinking, oh, they're going to drop everybody behind the ball, it's going to be a shit 0-0, and it's going to be their cup final? There must be an element of that, right?
You will treat it as your cup final.
Right.
I think you'll do what a lot of teams do, and I think you'll not so much sit in. I think what you'll try to do is what a lot of teams, in terms of how they play us, is the mid to low block, because it's been so successful against us. That'll work well. And I think what you will probably do is you'll try to wait for us to make a mistake in midfield and spring it from midfield. That's what I can potentially see you trying to do. But for that to happen, you'll have to get the ball off of us. And from a possession point of view, that's one of our biggest strengths this season, is the possession side of stuff. The XG at the moment, our shots faced per game at the moment, we're only conceding 6 shots a game at the moment.
Good Lord.
In terms of statistics all the way out.
Great. Now, one player that's going to be, that eyes are going to be on, I don't know if you saw it, we spoke about the fans forum last night with Chansiri. Southampton made an approach for Danny Rule when they were looking to replace their manager. The big, tight, shitty contract that Chansiri's got him tied up in. Obviously annoyed Southampton. So literally 23:59 on deadline day of when they were going to call him back, Chansiri gets the phone call to saying he's going to go back. Now there's a lot of chat that he's going to stay with us for another 7 days. He's going to be available for the next 2 games, and he is going to be a mega player. He's going to be a long-standing Premier League player. He's been by far and away our best player. Honestly, he blows me away. I think I'm a little bit gay for him in the gayest way.
Listen,
and
nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely fine.
And I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about midfield, Barry Bannon's not really gifted with the ability to tackle, but he can spread a ball. But do you feel like the way that you guys can swarm and hunt in packs like you do, I think you might stifle Bannon a little bit, and I think it falls on the tackle-making midfielder.
Yeah, it does. It will fall more on the tackle-making midfielder, but the thing is Ampadu doesn't look like he's been away. I think is a fair comment.
He doesn't even break a sweat, does he?
No,
he does it all in his stride.
His positional sense is absolutely phenomenally good. And then when you've got Tanaka that's in there as well, and if you really want me to frighten you about our players, Tanaka's current pass accuracy is above 90%. In terms of passes into the final third, nobody in the 4 tiers of English football has made more progressive passes than AO Tanaka this season so far.
Okay, brilliant. I'll jot that down.
But we could be this could be end up being a very, very Leedsy thing, and you end up coming in and shithousing your way to a 1-0, which would be typical of.
I think we are going in for a 0-0 shithouse. I think that's what it's going to be. I'm absolutely calling it. So what I want to do is talk to you about 2 things. First one, score prediction.
2-0 us.
You reckon it's going to be 2-0?
Yeah,
and the second,
I think it'll be 2-0. Yeah.
All right. And the second one being, can you just beat the Blades wherever you finish in the league? It's pissing me off that you're up there, but it's doubly pissing me off that it's you and them.
Well, when we beat them already this season, Wilder did not get a good time at our place at all. There's just this really weird thing that Wilder does that he likes to talk about us a lot because it manages to get him clicks and everything. Do you know what? Apparently he's a really nice guy, and I'm like, I could give a shit, really, to be honest with you. I don't really care. But we played really well that night, really, really well that night, and we put them to the sword. I think there's a potential for us to do the same. It's going to be tight when we come to play them again. It's going to be really, really tight when we come to play them again. But we need to go into every game like we're going to win it. That's what we have to do. But don't talk to any Leeds United fans about transfers at the moment because they're all.
I honestly, I can't abide social media during the transfer window. It's just kids making things up for clicks and likes.
Yeah,
it's absolutely bloody awful. I can't deal with it. So it's going to be a bit of a ding dong. It's going to be all right. Well, there's going to be a decent crowd there, and I absolutely love Ellen Road as a stadium. I think it's going to be great. Paul, listen, thanks a lot. The Leeds Therapy. Tell me about that.
So it literally came about a year and a half ago. I've done content on YouTube, just not football related. I was more into the gaming side of things, and then I kind of notched over the age of 40 and realised that it makes me look a bit suspect. Being a gaming YouTuber. So I started doing little bits and pieces of. So I started doing little bits and pieces of just talking about Leeds and just talking about the games. And so what I generally tend to do is match previews, match reviews, and then in between I'll just interject little bits and pieces in when I can. Just of talking about different stuff, and it's just a forum where people can watch my inane chatter and then say they either agree with me or they disagree with me. I've got one guy that leaves comments on my channel who claims to be a Leeds fan, but is just convinced that we're just doing nothing this season. And it's just like
top of the league, Paul. You know what I mean? It's like Manchester United fans claiming poverty right now. Like, you know what? There's a part of me, there's a 15-year-old Dan Fudge that sat there going, fuck you, Man U fans. Have some of that. All those kids at my school in Sheffield going, oh, the Man U fan, fucking have that now. Go on, what about that?
Do you want to hear something really funny?
Always.
They're currently losing
to Saints.
They are, yeah.
Are they really?
From Manuel Ugarte. What have they got? Yeah, Manuel Ugarte own goal, 63rd minute currently at the moment. So yeah, they are. So Southampton are beating Man United 1-0 after Man United won against Arsenal. Everybody thought that's it. We've turned a corner. So couldn't care.
I'm telling you, I said it on TalkSport the other week that Amorim doesn't see the season out. I don't think it's his fault. I don't think he's going to see the season out. I think everybody's going to panic.
I don't think he expected it to be as bad as what it is.
Absolutely.
And I think the thing that I do find quite interesting is the fact that it's almost as if nobody saw the Rashford thing coming. It's like, of course he's a problem. Of course he's been a problem for ages. How do you not see that coming? So, yeah.
It's as good as that. I could talk to you about this all night, Paul. Listen, stay on the line. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you want to get involved, the socials are on the screen, and I've just forgotten them like Simon does as well. Cheers, Paul. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week! Bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday Week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday Week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your